Imagine you're watching the lights in a city, and every time a huge factory switches on a furnace, the lights across the whole neighborhood dim, just slightly, and then recover. That flicker is a symptom of something invisible happening on the grid. The voltage is sagging under load. Now, the power company can't just install a bigger generator every time demand swings. They need something faster, something that can push the voltage back up or pull it back down in a fraction of a second. And one of the most elegant tools for that job is a device called a static VAR compensator. So let's start from the beginning and build up exactly how it works. Before we can understand the device, we need to understand the problem it solves, and that means talking about reactive power. Here's the cleanest way to picture it. Think of the power flowing through a line as water being pushed through a pipe. The water that actually turns a wheel and does useful work, that's real power, measured in watts. But the grid is full of motors, transformers, and long lines, and these store energy in magnetic and electric fields, then give it back every single cycle. That sloshing back and forth energy doesn't do useful work, but it still has to flow through the wires. We call it reactive power, and we measure it in VARs. And this is the important part. When the grid is short on reactive power, the voltage drops. When there's too much, the voltage climbs. So if you can control reactive power on demand, you can control voltage. Hold on to that idea. It's the whole point of everything that follows. So, a static VAR compensator. Let's take the name apart, because it tells you exactly what it does. Compensator. It compensates, it corrects, by injecting or absorbing reactive power. VAR, that's the reactive power we just talked about, the thing it controls. And static, this is the clever part. Older systems used a spinning machine called a synchronous condenser to do this job. An SVC does the same thing with no moving parts at all, just capacitors, reactors, and fast electronic switches called thyristors. It belongs to a family of devices engineers call FACTS, flexible AC transmission systems, and its job is simple to state. Keep the voltage steady by adjusting reactive power instantly and automatically. Now let's build one. We'll start at the transmission line. That's the high voltage bus we want to protect. We connect our SVC to it through a step-down transformer, because the electronics work at a more manageable medium voltage. And then, hanging off that connection, we have three building blocks working as a team. First, a Thyristor-controlled reactor, which absorbs reactive power. Second, a Thyristor switch capacitor, which supplies it. And third, a set of harmonic filters. Watch how each one connects in parallel. They all share the same bus. Let's take them one at a time, starting with the reactor. Here's the Thyristor-controlled reactor, or TCR. It's two things in series. A reactor, which is just a big inductor, a coil, and a pair of thyristors connected back to back. Now, a thyristor is essentially a high-power electronic switch. Once we trigger it, it conducts for the rest of that half cycle, and then naturally turns off when the current passes through zero. So here's the trick. By choosing when in each half cycle we trigger the thyristor, engineers call this the firing angle, we control how long the reactor is allowed to draw current. Fire early, and the reactor conducts for almost the whole cycle, absorbing the maximum amount of reactive power. Fire late, and it conducts only briefly, absorbing very little. And because we can choose any firing angle in between, the TCR gives us smooth, continuous control over how much reactive power we soak up. There's a catch, though, and a good engineer always looks for the catch. Chopping the current like this distorts its shape. It's no longer a clean sine wave, and that distortion shows up as harmonics on the grid. We'll deal with that shortly. The TCR can only absorb reactive power, but often the grid is sagging and we need to supply it. That's the job of the Thyristor switch capacitor, the TSC. It's a bank of capacitors and thyristors that switch the whole bank in or out. But notice the difference in how we use the switch. With the reactor, we varied the firing angle for smooth control. With a capacitor, we can't do that. Chopping a capacitor's current would cause a violent current spike. So instead, we switch the whole bank either fully on or fully off, and we do it at the exact instant the voltage across the capacitor matches the grid, the zero crossing point. So the transition is completely smooth, with no transient kick. The trade-off is that a TSC gives us reactive power in steps, not a continuous range. So here's the elegant part. We pair them. Several capacitor steps from the TSC get us close to the target, and the continuously variable TCR fills in the gap in between. Together, they give us smooth control across the entire range, from absorbing reactive power to supplying it. Remember that distortion the TCR created? This is where we clean it up. These are harmonic filters, tuned combinations of inductors and capacitors, each one designed to provide a low resistance path for a specific unwanted harmonic, draining it away before it reaches the grid. Watch the waveform. Distorted going in, clean sine coming out. But these filters earn their keep twice. At the normal grid frequency, a capacitor naturally supplies reactive power, so on top of cleaning the signal, the filters also act as a permanent source of capacitive VARs, doing useful work all the time, not just when there's a harmonic to absorb. So now we have all the pieces. Let's see them work together to actually hold the voltage steady. Picture the grid voltage starting to fall, maybe a big load just switched on. The control system reacts. It switches in capacitor banks and backs off the reactor. So the SVC pushes reactive power into the grid, like a capacitor, and the voltage comes back up. Now picture the opposite. It's late at night, the load is light, and the voltage starts creeping too high. The SVC fires the reactor harder, absorbing reactive power like an inductor, and pulls the voltage back down. We can summarize this entire behavior in one graph that every power engineer knows. Voltage on one axis, current on the other. In the middle, there's a gently sloped line. This is the control range, where the SVC smoothly trades between supplying and absorbing reactive power. That gentle slope, by the way, is deliberate. Engineers call it droop, and it lets several devices share the work without fighting each other. Push beyond the edges of that range, though, and the SVC simply runs out of capacitors or runs out of reactor. It's done all it can. None of this works without a brain making decisions hundreds of times a second. So let's look at the control loop. It's a beautifully simple idea, repeated continuously. Step 1. Measure the actual voltage at the bus. Step 2. Compare it to the target voltage we want. If there's a difference, an error, Step 3. Calculate exactly how much reactive power we need to cancel that error. And Step 4. Translate that into firing commands, which capacitor banks to switch in, and what firing angle to send the reactor. Then it loops, measuring again, correcting again, around and around, several times every cycle. It's the same principle as cruise control in a car. Sense the speed, compare it to your setting, adjust the throttle, repeat. Here, voltage is the speed, and reactive power is the throttle. There's a bonus benefit that comes out of all this, and it matters enormously in industry. Power factor correction. When a factory full of motors demands reactive power, that power normally has to travel all the way from the generator, down every kilometer of line, taking up capacity and heating the wires the whole way. But if we put an SVC right next to the factory, it supplies that reactive power locally. Watch the line current. As the SVC kicks in, the current the grid has to deliver drops, even though the factory is doing exactly the same work. Less current means less heating, lower losses, and freed up capacity on the line. The power factor moves back toward 1, and that's money saved every single hour. So where do we actually find these things? The classic example is the electric arc furnace, used in steelmaking. An arc furnace draws enormous, wildly fluctuating reactive power, and left unchecked, it makes the lights flicker for an entire region. An SVC reacts fast enough to smooth those swings out cycle by cycle. On the transmission system, SVCs are installed at key substations to hold voltage steady over long lines, and to let operators push more power through existing infrastructure safely. And increasingly, you'll find them at wind and solar farms. Renewable generation is variable by nature. The wind gusts, a cloud passes, and the grid connection point needs constant voltage support to ride through those swings. An SVC provides exactly that, which is why it's become a quiet but essential part of integrating clean energy into the grid. Now, in the spirit of honesty, let's talk about the SVC's main limitation, because it points directly at the future. The SVC is built from capacitors and reactors, and the reactive power a capacitor can deliver depends on the voltage squared. So just when the grid voltage sags badly and you need the most support, the SVC can deliver the least. That weakness led to its successor, the STATCOM, which uses more advanced converters to deliver steady reactive power even when the voltage is low. They're cousins, solving the same problem with different technology, and engineers choose between them based on cost, response speed, and how weak the grid is. Looking ahead, as grids fill with renewables and become smarter and more digital, fast, automatic reactive power control isn't a luxury anymore. It's the backbone of a stable grid, and devices like the SVC are right at the heart of it. So let's bring it all together. A static VAR compensator controls voltage by controlling reactive power with no moving parts. The Thyristor-controlled reactor absorbs reactive power smoothly. The Thyristor switch capacitor supplies it in steps. The filters clean up the harmonics and lend a hand with VARs. And a fast control loop ties it all together, holding the voltage right where we want it. Not bad for a box full of capacitors, coils, and clever switching. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.